Hey everybody, this is Grace. And I'm going to tell more of the story about what was really weird in that video yesterday. I didn't want to for various reasons, and you might understand as I tell the story. I'm going to tell it slow or I'll forget all the details, and they're important, very important for why it was so strange. And what it was a car. It goes beyond just being a suspicious car. A lot more than that. And it was parked in front of our house. Okay, not on that side, but on the other side of the street, legally parked like I am, okay, against the curb. And on this side, and parked across our driveway where if somebody was sitting in the car, they could see our front door. Nobody should be parked like that, but it happens, when neighbors have friends over, something like that. People should think that makes it difficult for the people who live there to back out, because they're not big streets like this one I'm on right now. They're smaller, like half the size. So it does make it difficult. So of course we're going to notice that car sitting there, because if we have to maneuver our way out of our own driveway, and there's a curve like you see like this there, and when people come around it, if there's a bunch of cars parked, they're not going to see that that's what we're doing. And it could cause an accident. It's happened before several times, and because people sometimes park there for whatever reason. But the difference there is that when somebody parks there, let's say a friend of one of our neighbors, it moves at some point, whether that same day or the next or the day after, but usually no longer than 2 days. I don't think it's ever been more than somebody's car has been parked there for 2 days. Hear the sound of my voice. It's really going out because, oh my goodness, this allergies thing. But anyway, back to the story. And I might repeat myself. Yeah, I'm going to say that because I've been trying to think of how to put this. Okay, so there was this car that was parked, this suspicious car. It was a silver, kind of, I'd say mid-size maybe car. Not a small one, but not a really big mid-size either. But anyway, it was a silver car, and it was kind of sporty, and it was one we've never seen before ever. And it had like tinted windows on at least the side that when we back up we could see on the side, driver's side. And when we would back up, we would be, right there where I could reach my hand out and touch the car. It was so tight there. And I'd reach out my driver's side window and touch it. Yeah. And so it was parked there. So it was parked there, we think, Halloween night. So that was Wednesday, right? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then it was Sunday, which was yesterday when I made that video. Okay. It hadn't moved an inch that whole time. Now, I walk Marmaduke, in the neighborhood sometimes, and I could see something that was kind of a little bit odd to me too. I don't know, it just struck me as odd. Like I'm walking Marmaduke and I look up, and the back window of that car wasn't tinted. And it had one of those sun visors, what is it called? For the whole windshield, it's an accordion style, silver. It had one of those sitting in the back, but it was kind of like raised up like it was covering something in the back seat of that car. Okay. So a bunch of little things made it kind of suspicious. Like yesterday, after me and Adam were talking about this, he said that, did you notice it has a back license plate, license plate, an actual Texas license plate. And in Texas, we have one in the back and in the front. It's an actual license plate. And I don't know unless they've changed that recently, but yeah, we usually do. Usually we do, period. Have to have both. And but it just had one in the back. So, lots of little things like, whose car is that? Why are they parked there? Why, why would anybody park there like that anyway? And but we do have a neighbor, and this is important too, who's 2 doors down. They moved into this, what used to be the crazy neighbor's house, and she moved and they bought it, and it's a married couple around our ages, and they have 4 adult children who are, say, in their 30s, okay, still, and they all 4 live there, Yeah, in their 30s. And they have all these cars, and one of the guys, I think it's two boys and two girls. And one of them, the guy works for a car dealership, and sometimes he parks cars there, like I'm parked, from the dealership. But they have a paper tag, license plate, paper tag in the back, and never one in the front. But like I said, this car that was a suspicious car had one that was real, not a paper tag in the back. So we thought maybe it was his, maybe he left it there. But there's more to it that got it to become really weird. Hopefully I haven't forgotten any part so far. But the really weird thing was yesterday, Sunday. It was probably between noon and 1 o'clock. I was going to that store, and that's when I made that video after this happened. And I'm backing up, which means, I had to maneuver my way out there. That car was still there. And when like I said, I could reach my hand out and touch it, once I got out of my driveway. But I looked over there, to make sure I wasn't about to hit the back bumper or anything. And I noticed something strange on this silver car. It was covered. Now, I'm saying covered with flies. Okay, flies. Buzzing around it, on it, around it, flies. I mean, a lot. Unbelievably. I've never seen that amount of flies before on anything. Ever. Okay? This is Texas. Okay? And I live near ranges and stuff like that. Never seen that many flies. And plus the season. But yeah, we've had them such weird seasons anyway. But so I'm kind of stunned, as you probably heard me in that video. And so I keep driving, and I said, okay, I'm going to call Adam. And I got to the end of the street, and I called Adam and told him. He was like, what? He said, well, I'm going to go check it out. And I'm not realizing that he's walking to go outside to check it out as I'm on the phone with him. I said, well, don't do that. You never know what it could be. I said, you watch all those weird shows. He likes to watch Investigative Discovery, I think it's called, where they do all those murders and try to figure out what happened and everything. He likes to watch that. And at the time, he was watching, what's that series called with Julia? Is it Julia Roberts? I think it's Julia. But Roberts, Homecoming. And it's kind of it has all that suspense and everything, so that could, mess with your mind a little bit and make us so, suspect something's weird. But yeah, I mean, I joked with him about that when I was talking to him, and I didn't know he was walking out there. And he said, I don't see any flies. I said, well, do you think maybe walking up to it might make the flies go away? Yeah, well, really, seriously. But, no, he said, then he goes, oh, wow, now I see them. Or something like that. And he said, that's so many flies. Unbelievable. And it was an unbelievable amount of flies on that silver car. So you could definitely see flies, Just pause here a minute and think to yourself, if you saw a car that had been sitting there, suspicious car, you've never seen it before, sitting out front of your house, parked like that, and it's covered with flies. It wasn't days prior, so apparently something in there has rotted, to have so many flies, and Adam had told me later, he said he thought maybe there's somehow a cat got in there, or, something like that, or a squirrel, whatever, and which could be. But also think about that visor, sunshade for a windshield was covering up something that was kind of lifted. And anyway, so I went ahead to the store. He walked back in. I said, well, don't touch it or anything. You watch all those shows, like that. And he said, I'm not going to touch it or anything. But that's when he checked out and saw that it just had one license plate, I think. And he wouldn't even look in it or anything. Like I said, the windows are shaded except for the backs. They're dark. So I went to the store and went back home. And I was just kind of shaken up. What? It was so just weird. So when I got home, I asked him, I said, well, do you want to call the police? And let them know, because you never know what something like that, and you never know what could come from that. Is why I didn't want to say right then what it was in that video, but you never know what could come from it. And why, they might say, why didn't you report it before now, or something like that. It's never just, to me, my experience, it's never just been, okay, I'm reporting this, I'm doing a good citizen kind of thing. There's always something more. And that's bad, because when I was a student and we were studying, sociology and psychology, there was something brought up that a lot of times people don't want to get involved because of all these other reasons. And that's what Adam said. He didn't want to get involved. And, because for one thing, it could be that it belonged to that neighbor that has a son who drives home cars from the dealership. But dealership cars, usually, like I said, I've never known one to have a regular plate on it. Okay, never. I can understand why he didn't want to get involved, and I really wouldn't either, because you never know what somebody's going to do if you report a car or something like that, and it could cause problems. But for me, it was that I had done that, and I think I mentioned some of that in that video. I don't know if I did or not. But yeah, that when that crazy lady, the crazy neighbor, had lived in that house before these people bought it. And, she was just bad. And I've done a video about her. And just really bad. And I had to report her to the police. And I explained to the police, when people park like that, when she had these caregivers and they would park like that, I said, it makes it difficult for us to back up. And then I explained about the people coming around the corner, and the police officer said, yeah. And he spoke to them and, about it. But anyway, like I told him, I didn't want them to think that maybe I was like a grumpy old woman who always reported every car that, parked behind our driveway, because it is legal. It's legal for, me to, like I'm parked right here. It's totally legal for me to do so. But it's not neighborly if the road's half this size, and right behind somebody's driveway, or like say an alley or something, just making things difficult for other people. We have to think and concern ourselves with others. It's not just all about us. So, but it's happened. It happens every blue moon. But this one, like I said, didn't move, not an inch. Doing this story, and a fly came up on my windshield here. How funny. But yeah, flies usually, I've never seen flies on a car or truck or anything like that. And so it was just really weird. Well, anyway, it goes on from there. And what goes on from there, we decided that, we would think about it and, see what we should do about it and all that. So we kind of forgot about it, because, we're not going to sit there and obsess over something like that. And we had things we were doing, So I was busy, and then we watched some TV, shows and stuff like that. And Adam was busy doing whatever he was doing. And I heard something out front. Okay, now our house is not like right up on the road. And I heard something, and I thought, just kind of like I was busy with something. It kind of hit my head. That sounds like a tow truck, But it just like for a second hit my brain, because I was busy. How something hits, that's weird sound, and you're doing whatever you're doing. It's not like right on top of you, that you have to take care of whatever the noise is. So later on, I don't know what time that would have been. Like, it was sometime, I think when I put that video up, it was around 1:30 or so, and or maybe 2, I don't know. And sometime after that, it turned dark. Since time changed and everything, it turned dark probably around 5, I think. I know I looked, I think it's 6, and it was dark already. But anyway, it was after dark that I looked out the front door. Sometimes I just do look out the front door, let some fresh air in, that kind of thing. And I couldn't see that car, because where Adam's SUV was parked, it was behind that. It would have been, I couldn't see, and Adam's SUV has dark tinted windows. So I got Marmaduke to go out with me. I wanted to see if that car was still there for some reason, and I did, and it was not there. Okay. I almost said it was still there, but it was not there. Okay, now think about that. I would thought, now that is really funny. Here it is, we're getting all suspicious, what are we going to do, and all this stuff. It is just totally weird. and it's moved. And it probably was, I'm thinking that tow truck sound I heard earlier, it was towed away. So we don't know whose it was, why it was there in the first place, what was making so many flies attach themselves and fly around that car. Now, Adam, we were both trying to guess, saying maybe they, it was Halloween and they had a party at work, come up with stories. Like I said, you have to make a story, to try to figure out what's going on. It's kind of like a, survival mode kind of thing, you make up a story. And I told him, maybe they had some food at the party or something and they put it in the back seat of the car and forgot about it. And he would say maybe it was boxes of fruits or some, fruits and vegetables and stuff, and they rotted. And then he also said that about maybe a cat got in there and couldn't get out, and various things. Trying to figure out what would be that cause. Now, to me, it would have to be more than a plate of food. Adam has a habit of he gets lunches at work, and sometimes he goes out to his SUV and eats his lunch, and if he has leftovers, he just puts it on the floor, in the container, not the food on the floor, but you know what I mean, in the container still, and forgets about it when he gets home. Something like that, and it might be a weekend he forgets it. But I just can't see something so small attracting so many flies. It would have to be something bigger. And I would think, I don't know, like I said, I've never seen that many flies before. So we don't know. Now we don't know what was going on that caused something like that. So, what would we have done? I would think that we would have called the police, especially like the next day, which is today, and either one of us saw it there and it still had that many flies on it, yeah. But, I don't know. What would you do? How would you see it? That is weird. Don't you agree? That is just really weird. That many flies, and I mean, seriously, I don't know how many. I wouldn't even try to count. Flying on it, around it, everything. So it must have been something really stinky, because the windows were up also, totally tight, the car. So yeah, it must have been pretty bad. I didn't roll my window down and smell. Adam, I don't think, got close enough to smell. Yeah. Okay. What about you? What would you think? What would you do? How would you see it? And all that. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. If you want to subscribe, and I'm sorry it's so long, but if you want to subscribe, click the circle. If you want to watch another video on this channel, click one of the rectangles. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Did I already say that? I got distracted by those two guys. But yeah, if I find out anything more, I'll put it on another video, and I probably forgot some details. But yeah, trust me, it makes sense that it was weird for us to feel that it was weird. All right, wrapping up. Bye.